So this week on the podcast, we talked about how to squiggle and stay. And it's something that Sarah and I are super, super passionate about. So I just wanted to bring to life a little bit what we talked about on the podcast, and it's also linked to our Harvard Business Review article. So I just kind of want to do a little bit of a summary of what we talked about, what we covered, why we think this is so important. But what I thought we might do today is spend a little bit of time in breakouts. The choice of being beautiful, I don't know. I don't think I'm beautiful or young, but I like fun. But yeah, I thought what we talk about today is some of the ways in which we can help people squiggle and stay, because we shared our perspective on this, but our thoughts are very much a work in progress. And I thought I would share some of the things, some of the issues, some of the main issues, and then give you a chance to talk about your ideas or your insights, and then share that collectively. So that is my plan. Let me get my screen up. Here we go. I mean, I'm feeling quite proud that I'm here and I'm prepped, to be honest. I'm feeling quite good about this. So let me get my screen up. I couldn't get all of our lovely annotation working though, so I've dropped that for the day. To anybody that is anybody who's new here, welcome. Okay, so here we go. I don't know who's managed to have a listen. Do not worry if you ever like, can I come to Pod Plus? I've not listened. Yes, you can. It is no problem. But so the episode was how to squiggle and stay, and we kind of tried to time the episode with the article that has gone live with Harvard Business Review, which we were sort of waiting to come out because we've been working on for a while. You don't get a lot of choice with what Harvard title. So we titled this article how managers can help people squiggle and stay, because we were really hoping they put like squiggly in the title, but they didn't. You have no choice over what Harvard Business Review call your articles, but they called it how reimagining employee retention. But the two things are linked. So if you haven't listened to the podcast yet, but you kind of want to maybe catch up on what we talked about, then the article is there. Lucy, would you mind putting the link to the HBR article in the chat? People, thank you. So I guess the context for why we are focusing on this as Sarah and me and the team at Amazing If at the moment is I guess there's a bit of a progression problem, which in my mind I'm thinking of as a bit like a leaky bucket of talent. The word talent's interesting. Lots of organizations use the word talent when they talk about people. Sarah hates it. She's like, it's not talent, it's people. So when I'm talking about talent, I'm talking about you, I'm talking about me, and people in companies that organizations want to keep. And there's a bit of a problem with people in companies that organizations want to keep. And we're thinking about it as sort of the progression problem that's going on at the moment. And what is happening is that large amounts of people are reconsidering their career. So the research shows that 65% of people, so the majority of us at the moment, are reconsidering work and our careers and the role that those things play in our lives as a result, sort of pandemic prompted consideration. And when people are considering their career, where they go, how they grow, the majority of people, so 2/3 of people, are looking outside first for their progression possibilities. So you've got this situation where most people are reconsidering their career and most people are considering their opportunities outside the organization first. And at the top of that, you've got this issue where it is taking managers a lot longer to fill the bucket. So recruitment times are longer. And so people basically are leaving faster than managers can fill the bucket. And it's a real issue for organizations. And it's also a missed opportunity for individuals, because actually there's a lot of progression possibilities within organizations, perhaps more within large organizations than small, to be honest. But when 2/3 of people default to thinking their development opportunities are outside the organization, they miss lots of opportunities for progression within the organization. And in the context of recession, all kinds of things, there's a lot of security and stability that you can get within your company. So Sarah and I are looking at, well, why is this happening? What can we do differently? So basically, people have more opportunities so that you look inside and outside and make an informed choice, and that organizations are able to retain their talent / people / us. That's kind of what we're kind of trying to solve. I don't know if we'll solve it, but we're trying to support it. We're trying to support this progression problem and put some solutions in place. So the three things that we talk about in the article, and then I want to get into the specific problems and put your very clever brains onto the case. The three things that we talk about in the article, the first thing we talk about is the role of career conversations. And, we mentioned this on the podcast as well. So we really need to have open, explorative, curious career conversations. When career conversations happen infrequently and they're focused on promotion, they don't help people to be proactive about their progression. And so we really need to relook at how career conversations happen in companies and the skills that we give people to support them, us as individuals, so we feel confident in a career conversation and we take ownership of it, but also managers so that they can help us to explore, they can support our curiosity and not try and treat it as a bit of a tick box. So career conversations was the first thing we kind of focused on. The second thing we talked about was the role of career experiments. We've mentioned this a few times. It's becoming like an increasingly important focus for Sarah and me. So part of the problem with why it's hard for people to progress internally is there's so much blimmin' process, like process and hurdles and hoops you have to jump through. And if we can make it a bit easier for people to transfer their talents, to try on different roles, to experiment with internal opportunities, then people can sort of squiggle around a bit more fluidly. Like when people have to apply and commit to a job for 1 year to 2 years before they really know it's the right thing for them, it puts a lot of people off. And sometimes people want to do stuff faster than an internal process might allow for, and that's why they look outside. So we are really interested in accelerating the amount of career experiments. We talk about squiggly career safaris, for example, where people can try out different parts of the business, or you've got the well-known Google 20% time, where you spend sort of 80% on your core role and 20% on a different role in the business. Oh, thanks, Kat. And I just a sort of a preemptive thing that I think we're going to announce next week, but because you are a lovely special community, I'll let you know now. We are going to be looking for organisations to partner with us on a 12 to 18 month study on career experiments. So what we want to do is create about 10 companies, community of organisations who are up for trying out some different experiments and also up for measuring the effectiveness of them. And our intention is to sort of 12 months to 18 months time to put those out there as sort of proven case studies of the effectiveness of career experiments. So we're going to be promoting that next week, early next week. So there's a bit of a criteria about what the companies need to be like, to be honest, to be involved in it. There's a certain scale, but if you think, oh, that would be great for my company, then you should nominate your company, because we're trying to prove the role of career experiments. Last but not least, mobility metrics. Can't spell mobility metrics. Managers are a really big part of this problem and solution, and managers aren't always motivated to help people to move around an organization, partly because of the metrics they're measured on. So when you have managers that are measured on team performance, so what are the outputs of my team, how effective is my team, that leads to them becoming understandably quite territorial about their talent. Because let's say you all work in my team and you're all brilliant, which I'm absolutely sure you all are, and I am measured on how brilliant my team is. I want to keep you in my team. It is a disincentive to me to be oh, brilliant people, go be brilliant in other teams, because that's going to affect the performance of my team, the performance of me individually. So if we can start to balance out that with some metrics on mobility, so managers' performance is about organisation-wide talent, how much people move, how many experiments they try out, how many people come into their role from within the organisation, not outside the organisation, these sorts of things, then actually we support managers to help people squiggle and stay. When we make metrics just about individual team performance, we disincentivize it. And so we're sort of re-looking at the role that, people say what gets measured gets done. If you're not measuring internal mobility and people squiggling, then you're not really supporting it. So that's the sort of our thinking. Might need BBC in the so that's sort of thing that we're talking about at the moment. Anyway, any perspectives on any of that before I let you know the three biggest problems to this happening, and then we're going to put your collective brain power on the case. Any reflections? Boris Johnson's resigned. Oh, Poonam, I didn't see that. Oh, I was like, what's going on with BBC? Oh, I know, shocking news on Pod Plus. Don't vote that. Wow, big news, everybody. I mean, a podcast topic for next week, perhaps. So can we? Wow. Okay, very interesting. Okay, don't get distracted, Helen, by Boris Johnson news. My brain's it's already hard enough to concentrate today. But interesting. Maybe that would be a good podcast topic. When to resign and how to resign with respect. I mean, what we can learn from Boris Johnson. Okay, maybe we'll do that. Be topical, right? Okay, so I think hasn't squiggled and stayed yet, Sarah, yet resigned from one role to move to another. Okay, so what not to Boris Johnson. Okay, so the three biggest barriers to all of these ideas actually happening. So the reason that people think that it is easier to leave than to stay are, first of all, awareness. So there's a big issue with the awareness of internal opportunities. So if people can't see, they often think they can't stay. So it's like, well, if I can't see outside of my team, if I can't see outside of my department, how am I supposed to know where else I could grow? And so part of the reason is, when you apply for a job, it's because you've seen it on LinkedIn or whatever. But often in lots of organizations, it's not always easy to see what is there for people. And if you're not confident enough to proactively go and create roles, like Sarah and I, for example, we've both created roles in companies we've worked in, but that takes quite a lot of confidence to do that. And so if you're not confident enough to create a job and you can't see where you can squiggle, then actually, a lack of awareness might mean for a lot of people it's easier to leave. So that's awareness of internal opportunity is a big issue. The other one is accessibility. So that's that point I mentioned about there's so many hurdles, internal hurdles, like you have to have a certain performance rating, or you have to have been in this role for a certain amount of time before you can look, or that you have to do it at a certain time of the year. Like, it's basically really hard, and sometimes it's just easier to apply for a job and it's quicker. And so the accessibility, like the ease of access, getting through all the internal processes and performance metrics and measures that you need to, often makes people think, well, why would I go through that arduous when I could just apply somewhere else? I'm catching up on your things. I'd be interested in how this needs to adapt within a difficult restructure situation. Okay. And then the last one's advocacy. So a lot of people sort of saying that they don't feel supported internally. No one's championing them. They haven't got a manager, a mentor, or a sponsor who's going, Tanya's brilliant, you should take her into this team, what can we create, what opportunities can we create for Tanya? And so they really feel like they're going alone. They're sort of trying to create these opportunities. Nobody is sort of opening the doors for their development, and that it takes a really confident, brave, bold person to overcome a lack of awareness, hard to access opportunities, and a lack of advocacy. It is possible, but it's not easy. And so these are the three biggest barriers to a lot of what I've talked about happening. I thought what we might do is go into a quick breakout room and maybe chat about one of these different areas. You probably won't have time to talk about all three, but any ideas that you've got, anything you think, like you feel like, oh, we have a really good intranet, or we have an email, for example. You might say on awareness, we have a company-wide email that goes out that focuses on internal opportunities every week, or something like that. Or you might have maybe you've already got career experiments going on. That's how it's easier for people to apply for things within your company. Or maybe there are, I don't know, internal boards where people are talked about really positively. Maybe that's a way that your organization proactively does advocacy. So whether you were aware of something that's going on in your organization or a previous organization that worked well, or whether you have an idea about one of these things, I'd love to give you just a little bit of time to surface some of them. It will be a little bit of time. We're probably going to do 6 minutes, everybody. So I'm going to put you into breakout groups of about 3 people. Anyone that doesn't want to go into a breakout group or can't, don't worry, just don't join. But I'm going to make sure there are about 3 people in a breakout room for 6 minutes. And then we'll have a very, very quick share back of any of the ideas you've got. Sound okay? Good. Okay, cool. And like I said, anyone that can't join, don't worry, or just thinks, this sounds like a terrifying conversation, Helen, don't do this, or I need to watch Boris, just don't join. But then let's just see if we can get our collective brain power on the case. So I'm going to open up the rooms now. A few of us are having a bit of a chat in here. Sorry, I've ended up building on here. Laura was just telling me about some stuff that Rolls-Royce are doing, using Workday as a platform. It's got like a gig functionality in it, so you can almost do like internal gigs, very much the territory of career experiments, and creating easier access to opportunity. So really interesting. So I'll just put there, I think that the main insight for me is, I think the role that technology plays in enabling this, the transparency of opportunity, the ease of access is really important. Oh, Kate, opportunity marketplace. Oh, love it. Is it through Workday, Kate, or a different platform? Workday. Yeah, cool. We've got we've got a cool event coming up called Lead, Learn, Connect, which is for the organisations that we work with. We should maybe look at getting someone from Workday there, Lucy or something. I think. Okay, everybody. So for awareness, did you have any great insights? Probably chat is the easiest thing, just for speed. If I had more time, I'd love to hear from people. But were there any insights that came up in terms of awareness? So how things that are already working well, so that people have awareness of internal opportunities. I was telling the couple of people that stayed in here that when I worked at Virgin, there was like a weekly email that had focus on like red hot opportunities, and it shone a spotlight on lots of different roles across the organisation. Emma from Experian in my breakout, when you talked about gigs. Oh, I love that, Alison. Like, continue the conversation. This is brilliant. I love it. You, Alison and Emma, you should connect after today to definitely consider the conversation. Anything else that's working well in terms of awareness? Oh, Dave had a nice chat with Adam Richard as well. It makes me very happy that you've all been chatting with each other. We discussed the behavioural impact of people wanting gigs. It favours the extra. That's really interesting, Kate. That's really interesting. Does it? I mean, progression generally, when we're talking, it's interesting, I think, when we're talking about creating career opportunities, which is actually a lot of what we talk about in Squiggly Careers, is the need to own your development, to create your opportunities, to not make your development dependent on other people. I've actually never really thought about whether that's an easier thing to do for extroverts than introverts. I've never really kind of put that. I guess because I see Sarah doing it so well, and she's an introvert, I've never thought, but that's Sarah. Sarah's pretty good at stuff. So I think maybe I've got a bit of a biased perspective on that, but it's an interesting challenge. Focus needed on the salary progression for internal moves, often restricted. Yeah, I actually think the role that pay plays in all of this is very interesting as well. When pay is so linked to progression, generally lots of people want more money because that fuels their life, and life is expensive. But when pay and progression are linked, does it sort of reinforce promotion? Is there a way to decouple pay and progression? I think is an interesting thing. I was actually talking to an organisation recently where they have done that. Anyone can put a business case together for a pay rise at any point. You can put the business case together, and everyone gets like an annual increase, and it's guaranteed, and it's sort of de-linked from the job that you're doing, so it becomes less of a forcing function for everyone wanting to get promoted all the time. Very interesting. Oh, okay, everyone. I could talk about this for ages and I feel like I could get loads more insight from you, and we are out of time. So I guess today, nothing has been solved, but this is a very big problem, and one that we are going to keep working on. And I would love your clever brains, your support, your ideas to support what we're doing in this space, because I think this could be a really big unlocker for Squiggly Careers if we can progress some of these problems. So stay connected to what we're doing, because we are on this now. The Squiggle and Stay is a big thing for us. As I said, next week we're launching this sort of experiment, so we're going to be looking out for companies to be part of that. There is a criteria. I'll kind of share it. We'll share it all on LinkedIn probably, where we think we're probably most likely to source the companies. But if you're already thinking this is interesting and my organization could benefit from this, maybe look out for what we post. And if you see experiments, if you see things that are addressing some of these challenges, please get in touch with us. It is helen@amazingif.com, and we would love to learn from things that you are seeing and experiencing. But I am going to leave you to your day. Thank you I'm saving your chat saved. Thank you. Let's go see what's happening with the government, everybody. What a random start to the day. See you all soon, everybody. Thank you for all of your engagement. Take care. Bye for now. Bye, everyone. Bye.